Today, I want to talk about something that might seem controversial at first, but it's a message that needs to be said, heard, and understood. Stop being the nice girl. Setting boundaries is one of the most empowering acts you can undertake in your journey to break free from the constraints of being a nice girl. Boundaries are not about building walls or shutting people out. They are about creating a framework for how you want to live your life and how you expect to be treated by others. They are the foundation of self-respect and personal freedom. When you don't set boundaries, you allow others to dictate your time, energy, and emotions, often at the expense of your own well-being. Without boundaries, your life can become a series of obligations that leave you feeling drained, resentful, and unfulfilled. The first step in defining your boundaries is recognizing that your time and energy are limited resources. Many of us fall into the trap of saying yes to everyone because we fear disappointing others or being perceived as selfish. However, every time you say yes to something that doesn't align with your values or priorities, you are essentially saying no to yourself. This creates an imbalance where your needs are constantly pushed aside, leaving you with little to no space for self-care, personal growth, or pursuing your goals. Understanding this dynamic is crucial because it allows you to see that boundaries are not selfish, they are essential for your overall well-being. Once you understand the importance of boundaries, the next step is to identify areas in your life where they are lacking. This requires honest self-reflection. Ask yourself questions like, when do I feel most resentful? Where do I feel taken advantage of? In what situations do I find it difficult to say no? The answers to these questions will reveal patterns where your boundaries are either weak or non-existent. It might be with friends who constantly rely on you for emotional support, a colleague who offloads extra work onto you, or even family members who make demands on your time without considering your needs. Recognizing these patterns is the first step toward change. Communicating your boundaries is where many people struggle. It's one thing to know what your limits are, but it's another to express them clearly and confidently. This is especially challenging for those who have spent their lives trying to be agreeable and accommodating. However, it's important to remember that setting boundaries is not about confrontation, it's about communication. Start by being direct but respectful. For example, if a friend frequently asks you for favors that disrupt your schedule, you could say, "I'd love to help, but my schedule is full right now." I hope you understand phrasing your boundaries in a way that is firm yet kind helps you assert your needs without creating unnecessary tension. One of the most challenging aspects of setting boundaries is dealing with the guilt that often comes with it. Society has conditioned many of us, particularly women, to believe that our worth is tied to how much we do for others. As a result, saying no or prioritizing our own needs can feel uncomfortable or even wrong. But here's the truth: feeling guilty does not mean you are doing something bad. It simply means you are stepping outside of a role that no longer serves you. Over time, as you become more comfortable asserting your boundaries, the guilt will diminish, and you'll start to feel a sense of pride and empowerment in taking control of your life. Another critical aspect of boundary setting is consistency. Once you've communicated your limits, it's essential to enforce them. This can be difficult, especially if others are used to you being the nice girl who always says yes. Some people may push back or try to test your boundaries, but staying firm is key. If you give in once, it sends the message that your boundaries are negotiable, which can lead to further exploitation. I think of your boundaries as a muscle. The more you use them, the stronger they become. Understand that setting boundaries is a form of self-love. It's a way of saying to yourself, I value my time, my energy, and my well-being. It's not just about keeping others in check, it's about creating the space you need to thrive. When you establish clear boundaries, you free yourself from the constant pressure to please everyone. You start to attract people who respect your limits and value you for who you are, not for what you can do for them. Most importantly, you give yourself permission to prioritize your own happiness and fulfillment, which is the ultimate act of self-care. Setting boundaries is not easy, especially if you're used to putting others first, but it's one of the most liberating and transformative decisions you can make. It allows you to reclaim your time and energy, build healthier relationships, and live a life that aligns with your true values and desires. So, stop being the nice girl who says yes to everything and start being the strong, authentic person who sets boundaries with confidence and grace. Your future self will thank you. Understanding the cost of saying yes is one of the most vital lessons you can learn in reclaiming control over your life. Saying yes seems harmless, even generous, but when done reflexively or without consideration, it can come at a significant cost to your time, energy, and emotional well-being. Every yes carries a hidden price tag. It might cost you the time you could have spent on something meaningful, the energy that should have been reserved for your priorities, or the peace of mind that comes from living in alignment with your values. Recognizing these costs is essential for breaking free from the habit of overcommitting and overextending yourself. One of the first things to understand is that saying yes to one thing always means saying no to something else. Time and energy are finite resources, and when you agree to take on a new responsibility, you are reallocating those resources away from other areas of your life. For example, agreeing to stay late at work might mean missing time with your family or forfeiting an opportunity to rest and recharge. Saying yes to a friend's request for help might mean putting your own tasks on hold, leading to stress and frustration later. The ripple effects of these choices can accumulate over time, leaving you feeling depleted and unfulfilled. Saying yes too often can also lead to resentment, both toward others and yourself. When you agree to something you don't want to do, it might initially seem like the easier or more pleasant choice. But over time, the burden of fulfilling obligations you never truly wanted can weigh heavily on you. Resentment begins to build when you feel that your generosity is being taken for granted or when you realize that your needs have consistently been sidelined. This resentment can damage relationships and erode your sense of self-worth as you start to see yourself as someone who exists only to meet the expectations of others. Another cost of overcommitting is the impact it has on your mental and emotional well-being. Constantly saying yes can lead to overwhelm, stress, and burnout. When your schedule is packed with obligations that don't align with your priorities, it becomes difficult to find time for self-care or activities that bring you joy. Over time, this lack of balance can affect your health, relationships, and overall happiness. You may find yourself going through the motions of life, fulfilling responsibilities, but feeling disconnected from your own sense of purpose. Understanding these costs is not just about learning to say no, it's about redefining what you say yes to. Saying yes should be a deliberate choice, not a reflexive response. It should align with your values, goals, and priorities. When you take the time to evaluate each request, you can decide whether it's worth the investment of your time and energy. This shift requires a mindset change from seeing every yes as an obligation to viewing it as an opportunity to intentionally shape your life. One of the most powerful tools in this process is the pause. When someone makes a request, resist the urge to respond immediately. Instead, take a moment to consider the implications of saying yes. Ask yourself questions like, does this align with my goals? Do I have the time and energy to do this without sacrificing something important? Am I agreeing out of obligation, fear of disappointment, or a genuine desire to help? This brief moment of reflection can make a significant difference in how you approach decisions. Another important aspect is recognizing that saying no does not make you a bad person. Many of us have been conditioned to believe that turning someone down is selfish or unkind, but the truth is saying no when necessary is an act of self-respect and ultimately respect for others. When you agree to something you cannot or do not want to do, you are not giving your best self to the task or the person who asked. Saying no allows you to maintain your integrity and focus on what truly matters to you. Learning to say no also creates space for meaningful yeses. When you stop overcommitting, you free up time and energy for the people, projects, and experiences that truly enrich your life. This shift enables you to be more present and engaged, whether it's spending quality time with loved ones, pursuing a passion, or simply taking a moment to breathe. Instead of feeling stretched thin and scattered, you can direct your resources toward what brings you joy and fulfillment. It's important to understand that the cost of saying yes doesn't just affect you, it also affects those around you. When you are overcommitted and overwhelmed, you cannot show up fully for the people and responsibilities that matter most. By being more intentional with your yeses, you set an example for others and contribute to healthier, more balanced relationships. You demonstrate that it's possible to be kind and supportive without sacrificing your own needs. Saying yes should be a choice, not a default. It should reflect your values and priorities, not a fear of disappointing others. When you start to evaluate the true cost of saying yes, you begin to take control of your time, energy, and life. You move from being reactive to proactive, from feeling overwhelmed to feeling empowered. And in doing so, you create a life that is not just full, but fulfilling. Stop seeking external validation is a powerful mantra for anyone looking to break free from the constraints of being a nice girl. The need for external validation often stems from a desire to be liked, accepted, or seen as valuable by others. It's an understandable inclination, as human beings are social creatures and a sense of belonging is fundamental to our nature. However, when your self-worth becomes tied to others' opinions, you lose sight of who you truly are. This dependence can trap you in a cycle of people-pleasing and constant approval-seeking, preventing you from living authentically. The root of external validation often lies in early social conditioning. From a young age, many are taught that being good, polite, and accommodating is the way to gain love and acceptance. While these traits have their place, they can become problematic when they lead to prioritizing others' needs at the expense of your own. Over time, this can create a pattern where you seek constant affirmation, basing your decisions on how others will perceive you rather than on your true desires and values. Breaking this cycle requires a shift in mindset, a deliberate effort to build confidence from within rather than relying on external sources. One of the first steps to stop seeking external validation is recognizing the signs of approval-seeking behavior. This could manifest as overthinking how others perceive you, going out of your way to avoid conflict, or feeling anxious about being disliked. You might find yourself agreeing to things you don't want to do, simply to maintain harmony or avoid judgment. These behaviors often come at a personal cost, leading to feelings of frustration, resentment, and even burnout. Identifying these patterns is crucial, because awareness is the first step toward change. Once you recognize these tendencies, it's important to understand that seeking validation is not inherently wrong. It's natural to care about others' opinions to some degree. The key is balance. When external opinions overshadow your own sense of self-worth, they become problematic. The goal is to develop internal validation, a sense of confidence and self-assurance that comes from within. This means learning to trust your own judgment, value your opinions, and embrace your uniqueness, even if others don't always agree. Building internal validation starts with self-awareness. Take time to reflect on your values, strengths, and passions. What makes you unique? What brings you joy? What are your personal goals? Understanding yourself on a deeper level helps you build a foundation of self-confidence that isn't easily shaken by external opinions. Journaling, meditation, or even seeking guidance from a mentor or coach can be valuable tools in this process. The more you understand yourself, the less you'll feel the need to rely on others for validation. Another essential step is practicing self-compassion. Often, the harshest critic we face is the one inside our own minds. When you make a mistake or face criticism, it's easy to spiral into self-doubt and seek reassurance from others. Instead, practice speaking to yourself with kindness and understanding as you would a close friend. Acknowledge your efforts, forgive your shortcomings, and remind yourself that perfection is neither realistic nor necessary. Self-compassion creates a safe internal space where you can grow and thrive without constantly seeking approval from others. Setting boundaries is another critical component of breaking free from external validation. When you constantly seek to please others, you may find yourself saying yes to things that don't align with your values or priorities. This can lead to feeling overwhelmed and undervalued. Learning to say no, assert your needs, and protect your time and energy is an act of self-respect. It sends a clear message to yourself and others that your worth isn't determined by how much you can do for others or how agreeable you are. It's also important to redefine success on your own terms. Society often measures success by external achievements, such as career milestones, social status, or material possessions. While these can be meaningful, they shouldn't be the sole markers of your worth. Instead, focus on what success means to you personally. It might be nurturing meaningful relationships, pursuing a passion, or simply living in alignment with your values. When you define success for yourself, you shift the focus away from others' expectations and toward your own fulfillment. Challenging the fear of disapproval is another step toward breaking free from the need for external validation. This fear often keeps people trapped in the nice girl role, afraid to voice their opinions or take risks. However, it's important to recognize that you can't please everyone no matter how hard you try. People's opinions are often shaped by their own experiences, biases, and insecurities, and they are not always a reflection of your worth. Learning to accept this reality frees you from the need to constantly seek approval. Practice celebrating your wins, big and small. When you achieve something, take a moment to acknowledge it for yourself, rather than waiting for others to notice or praise you. This habit reinforces the idea that your worth isn't contingent on external recognition. Over time, as you build this practice, you'll find that your confidence grows and your reliance on external validation diminishes. Breaking free from the need for external validation is a journey, not a destination. It requires consistent effort and self-reflection, but the rewards are immense. When you stop seeking approval from others, you reclaim your power and authenticity. You begin to make decisions based on what truly matters to you rather than on what you think others want. Most importantly, you discover that your worth has always been within you, waiting to be recognized and celebrated. Learning to prioritize yourself is an essential step toward reclaiming your life and redefining your relationships, decisions, and overall well-being. For many, especially those who have been conditioned to put others' needs ahead of their own, prioritizing oneself can feel selfish or even wrong. However, it's neither selfish nor wrong. It's a necessary act of self-respect and self-preservation. You cannot pour from an empty cup, and neglecting your own needs in the name of pleasing others often leads to burnout, resentment, and a sense of unfulfillment. Prioritizing yourself begins with a mindset shift. It requires understanding that your well-being is just as important as anyone else's. Society often glorifies self-sacrifice, especially for women, who are frequently praised for their ability to juggle multiple roles while putting others first. While caregiving and selflessness are admirable qualities, they should not come at the expense of your mental, emotional, and physical health. Recognizing that you deserve the same care and attention you give to others is a fundamental step in this process. To prioritize yourself, you must first identify your needs. This involves honest self-reflection and a willingness to confront areas of your life where you may have been neglecting yourself. Ask yourself, what do I need to feel happy, healthy, and fulfilled? What activities energize me? What drains me? Understanding your own needs allows you to make intentional choices about how you spend your time and energy. It might mean setting aside time for hobbies, exercise, or relaxation. It could also mean addressing deeper needs, such as seeking personal growth, pursuing a passion, or building stronger boundaries in relationships. Setting boundaries is a crucial component of prioritizing yourself. Boundaries are not about shutting people out or being unkind. They're about creating a framework for healthy interactions that respect your time, energy, and emotional well-being. When you lack boundaries, it's easy for others to take advantage of your kindness or for you to overextend yourself trying to meet everyone's expectations. Learning to say no, delegate tasks, or communicate your limits is an act of self-care. It's a way of telling yourself and others that your needs matter. Another important aspect of prioritizing yourself is reclaiming your time. Time is a finite resource, and how you spend it reflects what you value. If your schedule is constantly filled with obligations to others, it's time to reassess. Start by identifying tasks or commitments that don't align with your goals or values. Consider where you can create more space for yourself, even if it's just a few minutes each day. Whether it's dedicating time to a morning routine, setting aside an evening for relaxation, or scheduling regular breaks throughout the day, these small changes can have a profound impact on your well-being. Self-care is also a fundamental part of prioritizing yourself, and it goes beyond surface-level activities like spa days or bubble baths. True self-care is about addressing your needs holistically, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. This might mean eating nourishing foods, getting enough sleep, and exercising regularly to maintain physical health. It could involve seeking therapy, journaling, or meditating to process emotions and reduce stress. It may also mean pursuing personal growth, learning something new, or engaging in activities that bring you joy and fulfillment. Prioritizing self-care is not indulgent, it's essential for maintaining the energy and resilience needed to navigate life's challenges. It's also important to redefine your sense of worth. Many people derive their self-worth from how much they do for others or how well they meet societal expectations. However, your worth is not determined by how many boxes you check or how many people you please. It's intrinsic and does not depend on external validation. Shifting your focus inward and valuing yourself for who you are rather than what you do is a powerful way to prioritize yourself. This shift allows you to make decisions that align with your values and desires rather than constantly seeking approval from others. Prioritizing yourself also involves surrounding yourself with people who respect your choices and support your growth. Toxic relationships, whether they're with friends, family, or colleagues, can drain your energy and pull you away from focusing on yourself. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, understanding, and support. When you prioritize yourself, you naturally begin to attract people who value and respect you for who you are. Remember that prioritizing yourself is not a one-time decision, but an ongoing practice. Life is dynamic, and your needs and priorities will change over time. Regularly checking in with yourself ensures that you remain aligned with your values and continue to prioritize what matters most to you. This might involve reassessing commitments, adjusting goals, or simply taking a moment to reflect on how you're feeling and what you need. When you prioritize yourself, you reclaim control over your life. You begin to make choices that reflect your values, honor your needs, and support your well-being. This doesn't mean neglecting others, it means creating a balance that allows you to show up as your best self in every aspect of your life. By putting yourself first, you set a powerful example for others, showing that self-respect and self-care are not selfish acts, but essential components of a fulfilling and balanced life. Developing assertiveness is a transformative skill that allows you to communicate effectively, set boundaries, and advocate for yourself without feeling guilty or aggressive. For many, particularly those who have spent much of their lives conforming to the nice girl archetype, learning to be assertive can feel daunting. This is often because assertiveness is mistakenly associated with being confrontational or unkind. In reality, assertiveness is about striking a balance between passivity and aggression. It's about expressing your needs, feelings, and opinions honestly and respectfully while also considering the rights and feelings of others. One of the biggest barriers to assertiveness is fear of conflict, rejection, or being perceived as difficult. These fears are often rooted in past experiences or societal conditioning that discourages women from being direct or assertive. Overcoming this fear begins with recognizing that assertiveness is not about imposing your will on others, but about valuing yourself enough to stand up for what you need and believe in. It's a mindset shift that requires you to see your voice and perspective as equally valid and important. Assertiveness starts with self-awareness. To communicate effectively, you must first understand your feelings, needs, and boundaries. This involves tuning into your emotions and recognizing situations where you feel disrespected, overlooked, or uncomfortable. Many people struggle with this because they've been conditioned to suppress their feelings or prioritize others' comfort over their own. However, by reflecting on your experiences and identifying patterns, you can gain clarity about what matters to you and what you're willing to accept in your interactions. Once you've identified your needs and boundaries, the next step is learning to articulate them clearly and calmly. Assertive communication involves using I statements to express yourself without blaming or attacking others. For example, instead of saying, "You never listen to me," an assertive approach would be, "I feel unheard when I'm interrupted during conversations, and I would appreciate it if we could ensure everyone has a chance to speak." This approach focuses on your feelings and requests without placing undue blame, making it more likely that others will respond positively. Practicing assertiveness also means learning to say no without guilt. Many people, especially those accustomed to people-pleasing, struggle with this. They fear that saying no will lead to disappointment or conflict. However, saying no is a vital part of setting boundaries and protecting your time and energy. It's important to remember that saying no to one thing often means saying yes to something that aligns better with your priorities. To make saying no easier, you can use polite but firm language such as, "I appreciate the invitation, but I won't be able to participate this time." This conveys respect while maintaining your stance. Another key aspect of assertiveness is standing your ground when faced with pushback or criticism. Not everyone will respond positively to assertive behavior, especially if they're accustomed to you being passive or accommodating. It's important to stay calm and composed, reiterating your boundaries or points as needed. This doesn't mean engaging in unnecessary arguments, but rather maintaining your position with confidence and respect. Over time, as people adjust to your assertive communication style, they're more likely to respect your boundaries. Building assertiveness also involves developing nonverbal communication skills. Your body language, tone of voice, and facial expressions all play a role in how your message is received. Standing or sitting up straight, making eye contact, and using a calm, steady tone convey confidence and reinforce your words. Conversely, slouching, avoiding eye contact, or using a hesitant tone can undermine your message, even if your words are assertive. Practicing assertive body language can help you project confidence and feel more empowered during interactions. It's important to note that assertiveness is a skill that takes time and practice to develop. It's normal to feel uncomfortable or unsure at first, especially if you're used to being passive or avoiding conflict. Start small by practicing assertiveness in low-stakes situations, such as expressing a preference for where to eat or voicing your opinion in a casual conversation. As you gain confidence, you can apply these skills to more challenging scenarios, such as addressing workplace issues or setting boundaries in personal relationships. Another critical element of assertiveness is self-compassion. There will be times when you falter or struggle to assert yourself, and that's okay. Instead of criticizing yourself, acknowledge your efforts and view these moments as opportunities to learn and grow. Building assertiveness is a journey, not a destination, and every step you take brings you closer to living authentically and confidently. Assertiveness not only empowers you but also enhances your relationships. When you communicate openly and honestly, others know where you stand and what you need. This clarity reduces misunderstandings and fosters mutual respect. Moreover, assertiveness inspires others to treat you with the respect and consideration you deserve. It sets the tone for healthier, more balanced interactions where everyone's needs are valued. Developing assertiveness is about reclaiming your voice and stepping into your power. It's about recognizing that you have the right to express yourself, set boundaries, and make choices that align with your values and well-being. By embracing assertiveness, you break free from the constraints of the nice girl narrative and pave the way for a life that is authentic, fulfilling, and unapologetically your own. Embracing authenticity is one of the most transformative acts you can undertake in your journey of personal growth. Living authentically means aligning your actions, words, and choices with your true self, rather than conforming to external expectations or societal norms. It's about shedding the facade of perfection, letting go of the need to please others, and allowing your genuine thoughts, emotions, and personality to shine. For those who have spent years prioritizing being nice over being real, embracing authenticity can feel both liberating and challenging. However, the rewards of living authentically far outweigh the temporary discomfort of stepping out of old patterns. Authenticity begins with self-discovery. To live authentically, you must first understand who you truly are. This requires introspection and a willingness to examine your values, beliefs, passions, and desires. Often people lose touch with their authentic selves due to societal pressures, cultural expectations, or the need to fit in. Reconnecting with your true self involves questioning whether the decisions you make, the roles you play, and the goals you pursue are genuinely yours or if they've been influenced by others' expectations. Journaling, meditating, or simply taking time for quiet reflection can help you uncover your authentic self and identify areas where you may have been compromising. Once you've identified your authentic self, the next step is to live in alignment with it. This means making choices that reflect your true values and desires, even if they conflict with others' expectations. For example, if you've always prioritized a career path to meet family expectations, but your passion lies elsewhere, living authentically might involve pursuing that passion despite potential criticism. Authenticity doesn't mean abandoning your responsibilities or being insensitive to others. It means finding ways to honor your truth while maintaining healthy relationships and commitments. Living authentically also requires vulnerability. Being authentic means showing the world who you truly are, including your strengths, weaknesses, and imperfections. This can be daunting, especially in a world that often rewards conformity and perfectionism. However, vulnerability is a powerful tool for connection and growth. When you allow yourself to be seen as you truly are, you invite deeper, more meaningful relationships into your life. People are drawn to authenticity because it fosters trust and relatability. While not everyone may accept or appreciate your authenticity, the right people will value and respect you for being genuine. Embracing authenticity also means letting go of the need for external validation. Many people, especially those conditioned to be nice, seek approval from others as a way of feeling valued or accepted. However, relying on others' opinions to define your worth is a fragile foundation for self-esteem. Authenticity involves recognizing that your worth is inherent and does not depend on how others perceive you. This shift in mindset allows you to make choices that align with your true self rather than constantly seeking to meet others' expectations. Another aspect of authenticity is learning to communicate honestly. Being authentic doesn't mean being brutally honest or disregarding others' feelings. It means expressing yourself with integrity and respect. This might involve sharing your thoughts and feelings openly, even when it's uncomfortable, or voicing your needs and boundaries clearly. Honest communication builds trust and ensures that your relationships are based on mutual understanding and respect. When you're authentic in your interactions, you create space for others to be authentic as well, fostering deeper connections. Authenticity also involves embracing your individuality. Society often promotes a narrow definition of success, beauty, and worth, pressuring people to conform to specific standards. Living authentically means rejecting these standards and celebrating what makes you unique. Whether it's your quirks, passions, or unconventional choices, your individuality is a source of strength and creativity. By embracing your uniqueness, you inspire others to do the same, creating a ripple effect of authenticity and self-acceptance. One of the greatest challenges of living authentically is dealing with judgment or criticism. Not everyone will understand or support your choices, especially if they deviate from societal norms or challenge others' expectations. It's important to remember that others' opinions are a reflection of their own beliefs and experiences, not a measure of your worth. Staying true to yourself in the face of criticism requires courage and resilience, but it also strengthens your sense of self and reinforces your commitment to authenticity. Living authentically also involves being present. When you're authentic, you're fully engaged in the moment, free from the distractions of pretending or trying to fit in. This presence allows you to experience life more deeply and connect with others on a genuine level. It also enables you to appreciate your journey, including the challenges and setbacks, as part of your unique story. Embracing authenticity is about living a life that feels true and fulfilling. It's about aligning your actions with your values, expressing your true self, and letting go of the need to please or conform. Authenticity liberates you from the constraints of the nice girl narrative and empowers you to live boldly and unapologetically. By embracing who you truly are, you create a life of integrity, purpose, and joy, a life that reflects the essence of your unique spirit. Embracing authenticity is the key to living a fulfilling and empowered life. It allows you to align with your true self, build meaningful relationships, and make choices that honor your values and individuality. By letting go of external validation and embracing vulnerability, you step into a life of integrity and purpose. Authenticity is not only liberating but also transformative, enabling you to break free from the nice girl narrative and live unapologetically as your true self.